Welcome to the Church of Thomas, Lady Bird Tribute, 8/26/11. Now, as many of y'all know, I'm a Texan, and we are very proud of Lady Bird Johnson. She was a First Lady and wife of Lyndon Baines Johnson, who was one of the presidents of the United States. Now, many would say, well, she was just the wife of, but she made a name for herself that lived far and above and beyond what her husband did. She recently died, and as a result, we have renamed Austin's lake that runs through it Lady Bird Lake. And I think that is a fitting tribute to a very honorable woman. She did many things that affected the lives of everyone in the United States. The first thing she did, which was an initiative that she started while her husband was in office, was the idea that the highways, many of which had been built for 15 to 25 years by this point, were still ugly. They were barren, weeds and different kinds of grasses grew on the sides of them, and it was unsightly. Her idea was rather novel. She asked each of the states to choose wildflowers from their states and seed the sides of the roadways, the interstate highways, the roads that were farm to market, all of the little state highways. She wanted them to be seeded with native plants and flowers. And within a couple of years, everyone was noticing something remarkable. Every state had their own unique flavor. If you would drive by in spring after a good rain, you would see whole fields on the sides of the road and in the medians where all this nasty grass and brush had been. Color everywhere. In Texas, bluebonnets is one of the flowers that goes crazy. Indian blankets, lazy Susans, all of them are there too, but the bluebonnets are predominant. And they're our state flower, so that looked really well. Anyway, so she beautified our country because everyone was driving by this point. So if you have enjoyed a springtime drive along a highway, you have her to thank. Now, that all by itself would be sort of marginal in the, legacy category, but she went even further. When her husband left office, she decided that what Texas needed was a way to bring xeriscape into the forefront. Now, the idea behind xeriscape is not planting plants from far exotic locations that need special treatment to survive in your area. What you wanted were local plants, flowers, brush, things that grew in your area that were resistant to the pests that were in your area because they were wild, that grew naturally there with the fluctuating water supply from rainfall, etc., that could handle the different temperature extremes so you didn't have to replant every year. They would come back up. One of them being the wildflowers. Well, she had a hard time starting this idea, but in Austin, they're rather forward-thinking, so this was where she set up to start something called the Wildflower Center. She took the idea of xeriscaping and modeled it in this compound. There are thousands of Texas native plants, flowers, brush, grasses, all growing in this area. Now, a lot of people would say, well, gee, that's taking an awful lot of water from the river just to do this small patch of park. Well, she went even further, because the way that she designed it was to take water from the roofs into a catchment system. In Texas, we call them cisterns. In Hawaii, we had large swimming pools that we used for reservoirs from water from the roof. There's other places in Montana that have different situations, but all of them have the basic idea that you're using a resource that is not having to be transported and doesn't take from the local ecosystem because it lands on your property. So all these cisterns are the only source of water for all of these thousands of plants in the Wildflower Center. Now, after that got set up, then she sponsored a whole bunch of artists, sculptors, and artisans to create an environment that was friendly and informative. Little signs are put at every plant so that you'll know what it is in case you want to put it in your own yard. There are large sculptures of local insects like bees and ants and butterflies. The place is a showcase. And with this as an example, Austin has moved into a very conservation-oriented mindset and has used a lot of this. Instead of having lush green grass that goes brown, 4 months out of the year, that has to be watered like crazy and fertilized, and you got to put pesticides on it, many people have gone towards her concept of the xeriscape. And it has spread all over the United States and the world. Anyway, this, I believe, is her true legacy. But in tribute to you, Lady Bird, thank you very much. You've made a huge difference. God bless the whole world, no exceptions. Angel.